What's up guys, welcome back to my channel. So you guys requested a how do I study actively video, and I'm moving my head a lot because this really bothers me, the light reflection, so I'm gonna come over here. You guys really requested this video of how I study actively while in online school now for my nursing program. So I'm about to have a study session with two of my best girlfriends, and I thought what better way to show you guys how I study actively than to kind of break down of how we study together as a group. There's one of my study partners. We're still waiting for Emily, who's gonna come join us, but I'm just gonna give you guys a whole breakthrough of how we study together. All right guys, so this is our setup. Emily has joined us. So what we basically do is we go through our notes that we all take turns typing, kind of like, well, at least what Brittany and I do is we kind of like take notes on our iPad and we physically write over everything that we go over, and then Emily prints everything out and then she writes it like that. So this is kind of like my little setup. I do have like my textbook here, my notes. This book is really good as well, but we probably won't be using it till after. And yeah, you ladies ready to get started?
Ready.
Coffee. So I'm gonna go ahead and make some coffee. I'm feeling vanilla today.
For your purposes.
Alright guys, so I hope that you enjoyed kind of like skimming through my little Zoom session with the girls. So just to break down of what we do. So like I said earlier, my friends typically while we're in lecture, they will convert the PowerPoints into PDF. Like they'll type it into Word documents, and then we'll send them out to each other. They know that I work and learn really well by active listening and writing down. I have to physically write things down. Typing for me does not, like, it actually sets me back for some reason. So what they do is, like, my friends love me very much, and then they'll include me in the whole Word document sharing, and we'll all share through our OneDrive. And we practice going over the material by basically reading the documents together. So that's what we were doing today on Zoom. And then what I do and what some of us do and what kind of like we all do is we all go through the notes in our own way also. So today we went over the maternal and fetal well-being. So for example, I'll show you where I wrote down like notes. So for hypertensive disorders of pregnancy, you can see that I go over my notes and I highlight in different colors, and I also write notes on the side. That's kind of like when I say active note-taking, that's what I mean. I mean like go over and write things out. You don't have to write everything out because you're not gonna have time depending on how flexible your classes are. But that's what I mean by active note-taking. So I don't know if you guys misunderstood me by my previous video by writing everything out. You can. So for example, here, I wrote out like the stages of labor, and I'm gonna add more notes to this, but I'm not gonna write out the whole chapter on labor in my own words because that's just gonna take me absolutely forever. So here you can see I went over like fetal development and I write out notes in my own words. And it also depends how difficult the concepts are. That's kind of like how you'll differentiate whether you want to write them down over and over again. So if you can't, like for example, I have to memorize like the regular insulin blood levels to further determine if like mom is at risk, especially mom that has gestational diabetes. So that's something that I will probably write down over and over and over and over and over again. But yeah, so that's kind of like what I mean by active studying. So since we are going over active studying, I did want to recommend a few tips for you guys. You guys have asked me a lot about apps to study for the NCLEX. So I do want to go over this book. This is the NCLEX examination survival book. So this book basically covers everything from your basic med surg to OB to peds to pharm. This book has everything summed up and it comes with practice questions. I really recommend this book. I use it while I study. So I'll probably go over, for me, for example, for today, I will go over the little chapter that goes over what we did today. And it says it really brief. So I'm gonna show you guys an example that we learned in class, and I had a really hard time understanding and really knowing what they were saying because I'm just someone that has to see it, feel it, do it, touch it, and everything to learn. So here's a picture that really helped me, and this is just one example, and I'm only showing you the OB because that's what I'm doing right now. But so it'll give me like a little graph breakdown of the different types of attitudes and positions. It's called attitude guides. I'm not saying, it's literally called the baby's attitude. The different attitudes that the baby can, oh my goodness. The different attitudes that the baby can be and of the different positions. So that's just literally one example of why I really like this book. And it also comes with questions. I think I said that before, but it comes with questions. So it kind of just breaks it down and puts it in a way that kind of like, instead of like the lettuce and tomato and onions and the sandwich, it goes down straight to like the meat and cheese of what you need to know according to the topic. Would I only use this to study? No, but I really recommend using it. And then I'll go over one more thing that I do when I actively study. So I don't know if your nursing programs, if they use a program called The Point. The Point is basically like a program that you do have to purchase, like the course book that you're in. So I'll just give you an example. So here's The Point like homepage. So for example, I have here different ones, but I'll go into like maternity and OB, and I will go into Prep U. So this is what I actually purchase. It's not included in my classes. So I'll go in and, for example, growth and development of the toddler, I've taken 2 quizzes. I don't do a lot of quizzes because I don't have time to do all these different types of practice questions. But for example, you can go in to like do this random chapter, and then you can pick how many questions that you want, and it'll start a quiz, and basically the quiz will go through, and after that it'll sync up with your textbook because that's how you register it with your textbook. And depending on what questions you get wrong, it'll tell you what sections to read in the book and why you got it wrong and why that answer was right, which I think is really important, especially preparing for NCLEX. All right guys, so that sums up my actively studying YouTube video. I hope you guys liked it. I hope you guys learned a lot. If you have any suggestions or you have any questions, make sure you leave them down below in the comments. I will post links to my NCLEX RN examination textbook, and I'll also list a little description of The Point along with the URL. So thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. I post videos every week, and I'll see you guys in the next one.
Bye.